This podcast is a member of the Place to Be Nation family. Visit us at placetobenation.com, the only place to be in your pop culture world.
I heard you've been looking for me, but you look for trouble. You're gonna see that you're
Place V Nation, welcome back to another episode of Extreme Resurrection. I'm your host, James Gruenberg, alongside Steve Riddle. Steve, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing good. We're getting ready to start a brand new year for ECW, and we'll see if things can change for them after the insanity that was the end of our last year.
Yeah, tonight we are closing out 2006. 2006 hasn't been the best year for ECW, so hopefully 2007 the product hopefully the product does get better as the year as 2007 progresses.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, like we talked about in our last two shows, everything feels completely different. Heyman's gone, Big Show is gone, we have Lashley as champion, and now it seems like, we got some new things going as we head into the new year.
Yeah, but tonight we are still, for our first episode, we are still in 2006. This is ECW, December 19th. From Hampton, Virginia. Bobby Lashley comes out to the ring. He says he is proud to represent ECW as the ECW champion. He says that he had a great time entertaining the troops at the tribute to the troops that year in 2006. As the WWE always usually did their tribute to the troops around Christmas time. And he and he's a former military personnel as well. So it meant a lot for Bobby to be putting on a show for the troops.
Mm-hmm.
Bobby then discusses who his next challenger is going to be. And Steve, tonight the fans have the opportunity to vote for who will face Bobby Lashley on the January 2nd ECW show in 2000 of the new year 2007. Will it be Rob Van Dam, Sabu, or Test? What did you think of the idea that the fans are going to vote for who is going to be Bobby Lashley's next opponent?
I thought it was a decent idea. I mean, they kind of playing up the fact that Lashley is a fan friendly kind of champion, unlike Heyman, who just did things for himself. They're trying to put over that Lashley will be the fans champion and vote and be a fighting champion. Speaking of that promo he did, it's kind of funny watching him back here in like late 06, late 07, then watching him in the modern day in 2022 and just seeing how far he's come as a promo guy. Because he's kind of rough here a bit. I mean, he's not terrible. I mean, he does a decent job, playing up how he was proud of, like I said, being a tribute to the troops, which I think was airing that week, and kind of putting things over. And I think one thing that doesn't get kind of talked about for him enough is the fact that he was a former an Army Ranger. So that's kind of a cool little hook that he's got, and playing off, going to the tribute to the troops and performing for them definitely. I thought was a nice little touch for that. Obviously, the three guys that they had, RVD, Sabu, and Test, pretty much the three top guys at that point. Three of the guys, two of them who were in the chamber, one who was supposed to be in Sabu but wasn't. So it made sense to have the three of them be the choices. Although when you saw the choices, I think at that moment it was almost kind of obvious who the fans were going to vote for.
Yeah, because the fans, they just love RVD. I mean, you could have probably put Sabu, but the fans were just 100% behind Rob Van Dam in the year 2006, and they've been behind Rob Van Dam since 2001. So, any chance that they can see RVD go for the title, they're going to give it to Rob Van Dam. Not only the fans, but also like WWE itself.
Mm-hmm.
Rene Dupree comes out, and Rene Dupree got some cheap heat on Bobby Lashley. He says that Bobby Lashley is a corporate puppet, and well, just like USA is getting stomped by Iraq, Rene Dupree is going to stomp Bobby Lashley. So a lot of really cheap heat by Rene Dupree, the Frenchman Rene Dupree.
Yeah, who I completely forgot was was A, still around, and B, that he had this little brief stint in ECW. I remember the first time seeing like the vignettes of him, and he was almost kind of like playing up that he was this almost kind of like a model type gimmick. He had dropped the he still had a bit of the French accent, but he dropped it a bit from where he had it before. And the fact that he was calling himself the most extreme athlete in ECW, when you look at him and you see his work, he's the complete antithesis of what a extreme athlete should be.
Yes, and I thought that he was just going to keep on cutting promos. He cut promos for like almost a month of like either it was like back in late July and like early August. They started doing like the Rene Dupree, and it's like, is he going to debut? He had like I think one or two matches on ECW and then just disappeared and gets like lost in the shuffle. So I guess they needed somebody real quick, so they just put Rene Dupree out there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just the guy to get to just defeat Lashley here.
Yep. Pure dominance by Lashley, and then like the Dominator just puts Rene Dupree away. I gave it a 1.25. I think that's being a little too generous, but I just liked Bobby Lashley's performance, and the fans were really, really getting behind Bobby.
Yeah, I went 3/4 of a star. Pretty much, again, just a squash to put Lashley over. Give him Dupree was just a guy to feed to him, and I don't think Dupree's around for much longer. So it was fine for him to make Lashley look strong on his way out.
Yep. So now we have Balls Mahoney versus Matt Striker. Balls unloads on Matt. Knee to the face by Striker. Balls hits Striker with his signature punches and then misses a diving leg drop. Striker hits the Golden Rule. I didn't know what the Golden Rule was. Was it like a modified neck breaker or something?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
It looks like a neck breaker, like the neck breaker that Test kind of did, but and that actually puts Balls Mahoney away. So Matt Striker gets a win over Balls Mahoney. I liked Striker here. I gave it a star. I like Striker. He seemed like really seemed like he was really doing his best to like wrestle here in this match. What'd you think, Steve?
Yeah, I want to start too. Pretty much this, kind of plays off them what happened the week before in the classroom, and obviously we have another rematch from December to December. Almost a month later. Pretty basic stuff all around. I do like that Balls was doing the punches, and when he's doing the wind-up, Striker went for the low blow like he did the week before, but Mahoney caught it this time. So so he obviously learned for the previous week, but it didn't matter in the end because Striker got the win, which was fine. They're clearly they clearly see Striker as a guy to be a solid mid-level heel for the brand, so might as well just have him get a decent win here over Balls.
Yep. So then we go backstage, and we have a promo from Test. Test says he should get a title shot because he has beaten every ECW extremist. And he said that he has dominated in the Elimination Chamber as well. So Test is trying to get his last minute promo votes in. And then we have RVD. RVD says he should get the title shot because the fans come out to see RVD. So the fans want RVD and they should vote for him because they're going to see RVD. So RVD thinks he has the fan support as well. Good promo work by Rob Van Dam and Test to plead their case why they should be the number one contender. Test does have a point that he has been he has shown a lot of potential in ECW.
Yeah, I think you knew that he's obviously going to be the guy to, probably be a potential challenger here for Lashley. But again, with them doing the whole fan vote, it's obvious who they're pretty much going to vote for. And RV, you kind of can see RVD's point a little bit because, he still never really got his one-on-one rematch for the title. I mean, yeah, he technically the Chamber was his rematch, but he was just one guy of, 6. So in terms of a one-on-one rematch, he still had not gotten it yet. And now he basically feels that this fan vote is going to be what finally gets him that.
Yeah. And so hopefully we'll see what happens as Rob Van Dam heads into the main event here tonight. But before we get to the main event, we have a little more here. Hardcore Holly comes out, says CM Punk cannot make Holly tap. So he calls out CM Punk's, and Punk accepts. Now this is going back to I believe it was last week when Hardcore Holly got himself disqualified against CM Punk, and then the match was over, but then CM Punk got the Anaconda Vice Grip in and made Hardcore Holly submit, but the match was already over. So Hardcore Holly says that doesn't count because the match was over, and CM Punk still has not made Hardcore Holly tap out. So CM Punk comes to the ring, and he accepts Hardcore's challenge. However, Hardcore Holly says, you only have 3 minutes to make me tap. So I didn't rate this. I thought it was it's just like a segment, like it's only 3. It really only is 3 minutes. CM Punk does not make a Hardcore tap. And then Hardcore Holly gives CM Punk the Alabama Slam. So hopefully down the line we see a rematch, maybe put him in an Extreme Rules match. CM Punk versus Hardcore Holly again down the road as we head into 2007. What'd you think, Steve?
I gave it a star and a quarter. It was fine for what we have. Like, Holly being the douchebag he is, basically saying, he never tapped out when he clearly did the week before, even though it was after the bell. I like the little the time limit challenge here, making where he forced Punk to make him tap for 3 minutes, and then of course he beats him up afterward, and obviously like you said, this was pretty much just building to a third match between the two, and you figured considering what they probably had in store coming up for Punk, that you would hope that this would be where he finally gets the better of beats Holly clean, and Holly puts him over on his way up. You would hope.
Yeah. So then backstage, Shannon Moore, who he hasn't been seen on in months, actually ever since I think, he had 1 or 2 matches with CM Punk and then he went away. All of a sudden, Shannon Moore is showing up. He bumps into Daivari and the Great Khali, and Daivari challenges Shannon Moore to a match, so we think, but Shannon Moore comes to the ring, and then Daivari comes out, but then Daivari steps out of the ring, and in comes the Great Khali. a clothesline by Great Khali, and then Tommy Dreamer comes out and hits Davari with a chair. He tries to hit the Great Khali with the chair, but Khali just punches the chair back in Tommy's face. And then Khali pulls the steps out, and then he slams Tommy onto the steps. I gave it a dud because it's not really a match as it is, another Tommy Dreamer Great Khali segment. This one did look more brutal than the other ones because, the EMTs come out afterwards and, they're like, don't move, Tommy, don't move. We got to do something with this because, it's been like almost a whole month of Tommy Dreamer just getting beat up again and again by the Great Khali and Davari.
Yeah, I went dud as well. Freaking Shannon Moore looks like with that like mohawk and the face paint just looks so out of place, with the whole, this whole, like his gimmick was the reject, and it was like it just looks so weird. But like you said, this was pretty much just put Khali over. He destroys Moore in less than a minute. Then Tommy, man, just give it up. You're every time you go after these two, you may get one shot on Davari, but every time you go after Khali, you get, either stretchered out or carried out. So it's like, cut your losses and move on.
Yeah. And then either make Khali a contender for Bobby Lashley's title down the line, because that would be, granted, Khali might have some problems in the ring, but if you took that versus Bobby Lashley, how Bobby Lashley makes a giant fall. So perhaps we could see Great Khali going down the road for an ECW title shot as well.
Maybe. I don't know how good the matches would be, but
No.
it seemed like it's funny because we're at this point now with Khali here where he came in the spring of 2006, beat The Undertaker clean at Judgment Day, and then it seemed, and then he kind of spun his wheels a bit. And, he also had that one clean win over Rey Mysterio when he was world champion. But then he just kind of petered out so quickly. It's like he lost, I think it was like a last man standing match to Taker in August. Then he disappears from it. Then all of a sudden he shows up here in ECW with, Davari acting as his muscle and not the star. So you wonder if they've already kind of seen the writing on the wall with Khali that, he's not going to be a top flight guy like they thought he would. Now, obviously, as we'll see going to 2007, he goes a much different path, which has been documented on other shows. But at the time, you kind of wonder if maybe his shelf life was a lot more limited than we thought, or they thought that he had.
I think the writing was on the wall at the Great American Bash 2006 that year, because he doesn't have that Punjabi prison match with The Undertaker. I don't think it was his fault. I think he had an injury of some sort, but it was this guy might have some problems working in the ring, and I think that was a problem that wrote a little bit on the wall that this might not work as we want it to.
Right. Well, that was the infamous that was the Liver Enzyme pay-per-view where it was him, Lashley, and I think Super Crazy had all had the elevated liver enzymes, and that's what and they got pulled from that card. So
yes, so it's not entirely his fault, but I think they were just banking on him, and things just got in the way.
Mm-hmm.
So now we get a Sabu video package. Notice, Steve, how we don't get a promo from Sabu. We only get a video package on why he's so extreme in this era of ECW. I think it's smart because I don't feel like anyone has actually ever heard Sabu talk. So good move by not letting him have the mic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Now we have a recap of Mike Knox dumping Kelly. Mike says he is the victim and says Kelly made him look stupid. So Mike Knox is trying to play that he's the victim and that, Kelly was making him look bad by going out and taking off all of her clothes. But, everyone sees it as like, oh, Mike's just jealous and Mike can't wrestle. And, Mike's just being a bully to Kelly. So we're still on this Mike Knox Kelly train.
Yeah, just typical douchebag heel trying to make it like he was, like you said, he was the victim, and you never saw things from my point of view. That's my girlfriend out there taking off all her clothes in front of everybody. It kind of reminds me of and I'm one of my Chrono Watches. I'm in 2000, right around that's when Eddie Guerrero and China were a unit. That was right around when China went into Playboy. And kind of the same thing. Eddie was, the jealous boyfriend who, tried to make it seem like it was, he was the star. It was all about him. And, he was embarrassed because China, was on the cover and all that stuff. But obviously the difference with those is that China could obviously defend herself against, against Eddie. Whereas here, you got this 100-pound woman who can't handle her own against a 240-pound greenhorn. So I just kind of found that a little interesting parallel.
Yeah, did you get to the segment where Eddie goes into the Playboy Mansion?
Yeah, he did that, and then he went to the I think it was like the headquarters to try to stop the magazine. So yeah, pretty good stuff there by Eddie. He was really getting really entertaining around that late 2000. It's kind of
and
kind of
I think
shame
also it was kind of a shame that the drugs and stuff. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that 2001 derailed him.
Yeah, and I also think, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but I think it also brought out more of a character in China as well, But she was dominating by beating up the boys, but here we have this soft, sensitive, loving type of China, where she was still tough, but she was very love and caring,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely.
So now, Steve, it is time for our main event. It is Sabu versus Test versus RVD. I have a problem with this because it goes to a commercial and then we see all three guys are on the outside and they really don't show a recap of what happened during the commercial. So you're starting to wonder what did happen, Because I think it's either Tess is busted open or Van Dam is busted open in the mouth. So I didn't like how they went about this, where they didn't even show us what happened during the commercial break.
Yeah, it would have been nice to see that little first bit of action there before, right as they went into the commercial.
Yeah. So a standing moonsault and crossbody dives to Test. Test pushes RVD off the turnbuckle into the guardrail. Double team moves by Sabu and RVD. A rolling thunder to Test. RVD gives the 5-star frog splash to Sabu, but Test pushes RVD out to cover Sabu for the win. So Test gets the win. However, as the voting ends and the results are up, RVD is the winner. So RVD will face Bobby Lashley January 2nd on ECW for the ECW title. Steve, would it have been better if they, instead of the voting, they had the winner of the triple threat match face Bobby Lashley? Or do you think the voting was good?
I thought the voting itself was fine. By the way, for the match, I gave it 2.25. I thought it was a decent little triple threat there. Not too surprised that Test won because again, like I said, they clearly have him pegged for a upcoming feud with Lashley. I think that's partially why they also went with the voting because I think they want to save Lashley and Test for a bigger stage. for when like the ECW title could be showcased. So I have no issue with them doing the voting and then having that match be on TV. I actually kind of would have liked to have seen Sabu win the vote because I think him and Lashley would have been a really kind of fun, chaotic style match. You know, Sabu just kind of throwing himself all around, and Lashley using his power offense to wear him down. So I thought that would have been a nice little different kind of match that we would have seen. But again, wasn't too surprised that that RVD ended up winning the vote.
No, I wasn't surprised either because, like he says, the fans come out to see RVD. Before we go off the air, though, Tess gives RVD the big boot, and that's basically how we wrap up ECW of this episode of ECW, and that's how we basically wrap up 2006. Now, we're going to jump right into 2007 because there is one more ECW 2006 episode. However, it's just a recap episode of 2006 and where we are today. But Steve, let's go over 2006. You start off with Rob Van Dam winning the WWE title at One Night Stand 2006, and he is then presented the ECW on the first ECW on Sci-Fi. Then we have a battle royal. Which Sabu wins, so he'll fight John Cena at Vengeance. Rob Van Dam and Sabu get busted in Ohio with pot and drug paraphernalia. So RVD's world starts crashing down. He gets pinned by Edge for the WWE title July 3rd. And then on the July 4th ECW, Rob Van Dam loses the ECW title to the Big Show, and they're getting screwed by Paul Heyman. Kurt Angle gets released and asks for his release in WWE. Sabu and the Big Show have a match at SummerSlam. The Big Show and Batista probably have the worst match on the list for this year on Sci-Fi, where the fans were just yelling, "Change the channel, change the channel." Steve, do you know what match I'm talking about?
Yeah, that was on. I do remember that. I believe that was at the when they did that TV at the Hammerstein Ballroom, the same venue they had the One Night Stand show. And yeah, the crowd was absolutely just like vicious on them. Like I said, they changed the channel. I'm sure there was probably a TNA chant in there somewhere.
Oh, there was boring, change the channel. And gosh, it was so bad. I would say, the highlight of this year is that Ric Flair match, which was we gave it the highest, one of the highest ratings was that ECW title match between Ric Flair and the Big Show, where Ric Flair went into the thumbtacks. That was insane. So then we get that. Big Show goes on a tear. D-Generation X comes in to ECW one time. That's only to promote Unforgiven. We get King Booker in ECW for one time. Then we let's see. Then we get hold on a second. Sorry. We got Booker T, and then basically it's just that you have that vicious Extreme Rules match between Rob Van Dam and Hardcore Holly, which was also high on the rating scale. That was like 3.5 stars for me and Mike. That match was brutal. The one where Hardcore Holly had all those like marks on his back from the table. Then Paul Heyman gets relieved. Paul Heyman gets relieved of his duties going into ECW's December to Dismember. The Big Show loses the ECW title to Bobby Lashley, and then the Big Show is out. and he asked to stop. He asked to be off the road in 2006 until 2008. Lot of like downed in ECW for 2006. Steve, what do you think would have happened if Kurt Angle was healthy and they used him in ECW? Do you think he wins the ECW title, or do you think he goes back to the SmackDown roster?
That's a tough call. I feel like at that point, Kurt had maxed out everything he could possibly do on SmackDown and on Raw, for that matter. So I could see why they moved him to ECW, especially with the whole, he was at that point, where his gimmick, he was the wrestling machine. He was, so intense all the time, and he actually was a pretty good fit for them. Had he stuck around, I think he probably would have won the title at some point. Maybe he becomes if Paul still turns heel, maybe he becomes Paul's new guy, kind of playing off their little alliance back in late 02, early 03. Maybe you kind of keep Big Show in there as just like the enforcer, and have Kurt be like the ace. Because I think Kurt would have had a really good run with some of those guys. Like he and RVD have had good matches before. He and Sabu could have some really fun matches. Maybe you throw him and Punk on an episode of ECW, just let them tear it up. That could have been really fun to watch. So yeah, I think if Kurt had stuck around, he probably would have held that belt at some point. It's really unfortunate that he was at the mental state he was in, that we were kind of, robbed of that. But I think when you look at ECW overall, I think the intentions were good to kind of, because they, had a lot of, it was clear that the fans had, a really vested interest in ECW from the Rise and Fall DVD, and then the first One Night Stand did so well. So I think they kind of figured, that there was enough of a care for the brand that they wanted to bring it back, and kind of have it be this little mix of like the original people plus, bringing in these new guys. I think blending the brands too much, bringing in the people like Batista and Undertaker and DX, I think definitely watered it down a lot, and hurt it a bit. And that's, it kind of made it seem like they didn't have enough trust in the ECW guys to carry the brand on their own. And I think, and this has been, I think, relayed on a couple of other podcasts before, but I think after Paul had left, they probably would have been shrewd to just drop the ECW brand name and just rebranded the show altogether. Like keep everyone there. You can still go with Lashley as the top guy, but just rebrand it as this like whole other like entity. Call it whatever you want. I think they should have just dropped the ECW from it, because as we'll see as we go forward, obviously we got ways to go before we get to like 08 and 09, but ECW, the brand starts to get, pretty good with some of the guys they bring in. But I think just having those three letters weigh it down, I think hinders it to a point.
Yeah, and then there's always that question, what if RVD never got pulled over?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. I think he was bound to lose the WWE title at some point, like in July.
Because they wanted to go back to Cena versus Edge. They knew where they were going with that, but RVD just losing the ECW title was like, oh boy, here we go, the problems.
Right, and especially to Big Show, and then that was when Heyman turned, and that was in Philly too. So it was just it was almost like a slap in the face of those fans, because you watch that, they littered the ring with trash. It was like, it brought back memories of Bash at the Beach '96 with how much trash they threw in the ring.
Yeah, or when like Jerry Lawler showed up on ECW in 1997.
Yeah, that's a good point. Good comparison.
Yep. Well, Steve, it is time. We are in the new year for ECW. This is ECW January 2nd, 2007. We're live on in Lakeland, Florida. Test is in the ring. Again, Test says he's been dominant in the ring and is an impact player. Test should be the number one contender for the ECW title. And going back from to the December 19th show, this is where we get Test versus Sabu, because, you know, Test gave that big boot to RVD, and Sabu was also in the ring checking up on Rob. So it's good to put, I think this was good idea to put Test versus Sabu to give Sabu a good showing, but also to prove that Test has been dominant ever since stepping onto ECW. So we have punches by Sabu. Sabu gets Test down and kicks him in the face. A clothesline by Test. A bear hug by Test. And a springboard by Sabu. A tornado DDT by Sabu. And then it turns into a big boot by Test and a swinging neck breaker for the win. I gave it a 1.25. I liked this match. Sabu was putting on a show, and Test was proving us with his dominance. I went a 1.25, Steve.
Yeah, I went 1.25 too. Again, pretty basic stuff for both guys. Test shows off his power. Sabu gets a few of his aerial moves in, and no shock here. Test winning. Like I said, you know, they obviously had plans for him coming up, so you want to keep him strong. And Sabu's an easy guy to lay down and make him look good.
Yes. So now we have a tag team match. It's Elijah Burke and Sylvester Terkay versus the FBI. So the full-blood Italians are still being used. Little Guido and Tony Mama Luke. Elijah Burke starts on Little Guido, and then he tags in Sylvester, a belly-to-belly suplex to Guido, and a running knee by Elijah Burke. A tag to Tony Mama Luke. Tony tries to get a comeback going, but is demolished by Sylvester Terkay. And then Sylvester gets him in an armbar submission for the win. I also gave this a 1.25. I like Sylvester's wrestling. You know, I know he's just being a big man, but he seemed dominant. And Elijah Burke also put on a very good showing too. So we'll see what this tag team, and even like if they decide to give like a singles run to Sylvester or Elijah, see what they do in the ring.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I went a star. Another December to December rematch that I don't know if a lot of people were clamoring for, but again, just kind of a way to get Burke and Terkay over. Obviously, the FBI, the only thing they have going for them is Trinity, who is still looking incredibly hachi-machi when she comes out. But yeah, just again, basic squash to put Terkay and Burke over. I've always liked those that running double knee that Burke does in the quarter. I think it always looks nice and, you know, flush whenever he hits it, and then like you said, Burke finishes off Mama Luke with that really nice looking arm bar. So again, nothing much more to say, just basic stuff, basic squash to put Burke and Terkay over.
Yeah, but like I said, you know, I just think that, like, I don't know if it was his appearance or like even like Sylvester's like wrestling gear. He did look strong in the match. So, you know, I mean, I know he's just another big guy, but there was just something I liked about him. And I also liked Elijah Burke's running knees. So they got good potential. Let's see what happens down the road as we get there.
Mm-hmm.
We now have a recap of the Great Khali being a Tommy Dreamer for the last 3 weeks. Tommy Dreamer says he's going to keep on coming back for more because, you know, Tommy has a death wish and likes punishment, and he's going to keep on fighting for the ECW fans. Give it up, Tommy.
Yeah, Tommy, this isn't, 95, 95, 96, 97 when you were constantly going after Raven. This is 2007 now, and this isn't, and Khali's a whole different beast than Raven is. So yeah, it's time to give it up.
Yeah, 10 years later, well, the Great Khali's going to beat me up now. Rob Van Dam is confident going into his ECW title match. You know, he says that he's going to bring it and he's going to win the ECW title. And he thanks Bobby Lashley and the fans for giving him his one-on-one rematch again. So Rob Van Dam is finally getting the rematch he always wanted, and it's a one-on-one contest. Now we have Kevin Thorne versus Balls Mahoney. And Ariel also looking hachi-machi, Steve.
Oh, yes, definitely.
Punches in a clothesline by Kevin Thorne, a kick to the back of the head to Balls. Balls does his signature punches, but Kevin Thorne gives him an uppercut for the win. I gave this a star. I don't understand how the uppercut just knocked out Balls Mahoney for the win. Maybe they could have given Kevin something, let Kevin do that, like do the Razor's Edge, but he really just gives him an uppercut and Balls goes down. So there's a star and an all right performance by Kevin Thorne. So let's see what happens, like where everyone goes in 2007, and keep an eye out for Kevin Thorne to see what they do with him as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I went half a star. Pretty, again, I don't know how much longer this match was supposed to go because I thought it was actually maybe I was looking at it wrong, but it looked like it looked more like an elbow, and he caught him like right in the throat because Balls took that pretty flush there, and you almost think that he was like legitimately hurt, and they just had to go to the finish early I'm not that the match is probably gonna be much longer, but it definitely felt like they had to go home early because it looked like Balls did get legitimately hurt on that. So if anything, again, just makes Thorne look more like a badass, which is something that he needs because he needs something right now.
Yep. So now we have an interview from Bobby Lashley. Bobby Lashley knows RVD's style and can wrestle any style of wrestling. So our Bobby is coming in confident that he is coming in as ECW champion and will be leaving as ECW champion. He's not afraid of Rob Van Dam's kicks or like karate style moves. What do you think of this promo, Steve, by Bobby Lashley?
Pretty, basic stuff. Again, Lashley, giving RVD his due for how good he is in the ring, but basically, saying, I'm the champion now, and I'm gonna be, remain champion no matter, what you do. So, good promo by him.
Yep. So it's basically put up or shut up time for both RVD and Bobby Lashley as we are into our main event. Lashley shoves RVD off of him twice. Lashley misses with an elbow. Lashley throws RVD to the outside. RVD kicks Bobby Lashley in the face. A split moonsault by RVD. A monkey flip counter to a belly-to-belly suplex. So Bobby has been studying Rob Van Dam's moves and has been doing counters of how to counter Van Dam's style. Rob Van Dam counters the spear, though. Rob Van Dam misses the Rolling Thunder into a clothesline. RVD cross bodies onto Lashley to the outside. So this is where the match is abruptly, ends. So it's like a cross body, basically. Like Rob Van Dam flings himself over, jumps over, and it looked like he landed awkwardly. Like he lands behind the announce table onto Lashley, and immediately the referee throws up the X sign. So I didn't know if it was like a legit injury and they had to stop it, or if it was a cliffhanger of who's the tougher man, Steve.
Yeah, I went 2 1/4. I thought it was really building up until that finish. RVD really, sold well for Lashley while getting his shots in. And, that was a hell of a jump RVD made to reach Lashley on the table. You almost thought that, you almost, questioned if he was going to make it or not. But, yeah, the ending just really left a bad taste in my mouth. Like, if they wanted to, I feel like I kind of understand why they did it. They wanted to maybe build to a rematch, between the two for for another show. It just felt like such a tease though, because it's like you built this thing up, on the 12-19 show with the fans voting and RVD winning, and then you make them wait the 2 weeks to get here, and now we're here, and that's the finish they give us. It's just really, it just felt very unsatisfying. Like I was hoping for a little bit more out of the match.
Yeah, I went at 2.25 as well, Steve. It was great up until that finish, and you can really hear the fans' displeasure for the ending, and there was a lot of bull chants there. It also seems, Steve, that the fans were getting behind more of Bobby Lashley than they were of RVD. I thought I was hearing more Bobby chants. Maybe that was from like the kids and like the families, where like those hardcore fans are always going to stand by Rob Van Dam. But I thought I was hearing more of Lashley chants tonight.
Yeah, they were definitely getting behind him, which is what they were hoping for, because they want to make Lashley their top face. So the more support he gets, the better, especially when it's against a guy who is as loved as RVD is.
Yep. So that also closes out this first episode of the 2007 year of ECW. And that's going to basically wrap up the ECW Extreme Resurrection tonight. But before we go, Steve, do you have anything that you want to plug and direct the listeners to?
Yes, so you can usually find me over on the PTBN Pop Experience. I have a couple of shows going on there. First, there's Pop Goes the Classics, where Andy Atherton, and Miranda Berthold are going through all the Disney animated films. Our most recent episode, we discussed The Lion King, so we hit the third point in that awesome triangle of Beauty and the Beast, Aladdin, and The Lion King. So we've completed the first half of the Disney Renaissance, and now we're about to get into the second half here. Looking forward to getting to that. I also have Making Mount Rushmore, where me and a group of people come on and we talk all sorts of different topics. So lots of great fun there. And I also occasionally do the PTBN video jukebox song of the day, where we come on and just basically live watch a random music video and just talk about it. I know I've done a few, Andy's done a few, John Kasalika has done some, and I know our boy Scott Criscolo has just jumped in as well. So we got some great voices all over there. So I'll be sure to check all that out, and be sure to check out everything across our little trio of pods here on the Wrestling Feed, the Pop Experience, and also on the North South Connection, which also houses the Jenny position. You can usually find me also over on the PTBN Facebook page. We have lots of great stuff going on there, including our summer tournament we've got going on, where we are determining the greatest animated film of all time. We have over 300 entries. We're currently, as of this recording, in the play-in round. Lots of great matchups about to come, not just in the play-in round, but also in the first round when we get there. So it's going to be interesting to see what ends up winning that. So I'm looking forward to it. So be sure to check out all that. Be sure to get over there and vote for your favorites.
I always do my voting on my lunch break, I was like, oh, but I wonder if the polls are up yet.
Yeah, usually we try to get them up by 12 noon Eastern time, so that they're there for people to go in and vote.
Right on time. Well, that's going to do it for us here tonight on Extreme Resurrection. I'm James Gruenberg. He's Steve Riddle, and we will see you next time.
I heard you've been looking for me, but you look for trouble. You're gonna see that your words are dangerous, your talk is cheap. So now I'm standing here, You tell yourself you know what to do when you realize that I am coming for you. Then you'll change your mind and run like standing here, still standing.